Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandra, and I'm the host of the I Shall Bloom
Yay!
Show. Yes, a show where we interview stellar individuals whose work and legacy has profoundly uplifted our communities for the better. Each week, we interview a shall bloom.
Oh,
Today, I have Judge Stephanie Boyd. Yes. Woo!
oh,
A
thank you.
pillar of society. Let me see. I'm going to do this. Stephanie Boyd is a true trailblazer in the legal field. She has dedicated her career for fighting justice and equality. She's here to share insights and inspire us all. She's going to tell us about her life, as a woman and judge and family. So, without further ado, I'm introducing you to Judge Boyd, Stephanie Boyd.
Oh, thank you.
Woo-hoo!
That is so awesome.
Yes, yes.
You're looking gorgeous today. I
Yes.
love this hat.
Thank you. So this is Judge Boyd, you guys. Stephanie Boyd is here. So we are going to talk about. I have to have notes because she is big
Oh,
time, but just humble person. You know what I mean? You can talk to her anytime on the street. She lets you call her. I have her cell phone, so I called her this
yes.
morning because we had a mix up in time. So thank you. So without further ado,
Oh,
you're here.
yes.
Welcome to the I Shall Bloom show. And you guys say hi, everyone. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. So
Yes.
tell us. Yeah. So we'll start with your a little bit about you, why you chose this field. Um, we'll lead into what's going to happen. What do you see coming up in 2025? What do you see about this? I know we can talk politics. I know
Yes.
certain things we can talk around it,
Yes.
but you guide me on the things that I can talk about.
Sure.
Can you hear? Can you guys hear?
Am I on? I think.
Maybe you could go back in and come back out.
Okay. Let me put this up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it
Okay.
could be there because we're okay. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So tell me, I guess your beginning as a kid, because I know your story. As a
Yes.
kid, what brought you into the legal field? You know what I mean? Like, did you know it from the beginning? Or
Yes.
you did.
Surprise, surprise. So, when I was young, my family, all of the females in my family were not in my age group.
Yes.
So they were in the painting fingernail stage,
Yes. Girly
on the
girl.
phone,
Boyfriend.
talking to boyfriends.
Yes. Dating.
So the people who I learned from was my grandmother, of course, my mom, my brothers, and my male cousins.
Yes.
So I was the youngest before my younger brother was born. Am I
Yeah, I think it's going.
okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
You know, throw it over the shoulder.
Yeah. Throw
Yes.
it over. Yes.
So my brother, my male cousins, they were in school. I wasn't in school at that time. So my mom had to work and my grandmother would babysit.
Yes.
And my grandmother, we would watch Perry Mason. So I knew I wanted to be an attorney just from watching that.
Oh yeah, Perry Mason.
We would watch all of the soaps:
Yes.
Search for Tomorrow, Secret Storm, Edge of Night, All My Children, One Life to Live.
General.
You know yes, General Hospital, Santa Barbara. So you know the soap opera, I'd seen it.
Right.
So I didn't start school till first grade.
Oh,
So in Louisiana, Shreveport,
yeah.
you didn't have to go to school at kindergarten. So I didn't go at kindergarten. My first time being in school was first grade. The school was right across the street from my grandmother's house, which was great.
Yes.
So I go to school. I already know how to read, write, tell time, do small math because of my grandmother and my mom.
Yeah.
So they were constantly on education, education, education.
Mhm.
But my first day of school, because I was like, I'm ready to go to school. I'm ready to go to school.
Yes.
And so my first day of school, they have lunch break. I didn't realize that lunch break was you have lunch break and then you go back to class.
Yeah, you're a
On lunch break, I left to go home to be with my grandmother to watch all my children. And she was like, Stephanie, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, school's over. So that was back in the day where they had corporal punishment.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah.
I'm at my grandmother's house, and unbeknownst to me, they're trying to find me at the school because I'm missing. And the principal comes down. Principal is very angry. And my grandmother's like, you will not discipline my baby because she doesn't know. She thought school was over.
Yeah.
But I loved being at that school. I remember all of my teachers. Miss Leslie was always follow your dreams,
Yes.
bloom where planted.
Bloom where planted.
And I wanted to be an attorney from day one.
You
and I
did.
always knew, yes. Other females in my family, they're like, I want to be an actress, I want to be a model.
Yes.
And me, I would watch the soaps and I'm like, okay, what's
The lawyer.
going on? What's the profession?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I really love this attorney thing.
Yeah.
So I always knew. And it was just a matter of me staying on the path. My mom always says, we're religious, right?
Yeah.
My mom always says,
Of course.
you've got to pray every day and stay on your path
Mm-hmm.
and pray that the path is shown to you, but stay on it.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to high school, graduating. Then I went to undergrad, and then I went to grad school, and then I went to law school. That was my first time being in a formal setting, educational wise.
Yes.
And I loved it. And from there, I was there for a year, and my mom and my grandmother put me there because they're like, I know she's excited about school, but this is her very first time in school.
Yes.
So let's put her across the street. So across the street, there was this school named Central Free Methodist. So I always tell people, I've been in Methodist schools, I've been in Baptist school. You know, at the Methodist school, we had to remember a verse, and you would go to the chapel every day to start school. So that was great. But I always tell students, the quality of the food lowers the older you get.
Yes.
Like that school, lunch was great. Then you go to elementary school, lunch is great.
Yeah.
Then once you get, when I was growing up, it was called junior high. Now, no, it's called middle school.
Yeah.
Then slowly the food starts being not so great.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going to undergrad, and I still knew I want to be an attorney. So what's the best field for me if I want to be an attorney?
See, and that's the way you do it, huh?
Yes.
You already know already. Why waste your time with all the others? You already knew.
And so somebody was saying, Stephanie, you really don't want to do, don't go towards 100%, oh, I'm doing criminal justice or I'm doing that. They said, because in law school, they're going to teach you that. So I was looking for a profession where I could do a lot. It had a lot of electives, and that ended up being political science. And so then after I graduated with that, then I went to business school, and then I went to law school. And I ended up in San Antonio for law school.
And you're the first black woman, African-American woman here at the court systems, right?
In the 187 District Court. I'm the first female, the first African-American in that court.
First, all of that. First female, first African-American in court 187?
187.
And 187, and that's San Antonio, Texas, you guys.
And people always ask me, they're like, okay, what are you in my district?
Yeah.
And I tell, because it's the 187 District Court. And so I have to tell, so I tell people it's all of Bexar County, but 187th just signifies it was the 187th court that was created as a district. Yes.
Oh.
And then district tells you, oh, it's a felony court that's the 187th, but it covers all of Bexar County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, you guys, why we got disconnected, I was telling her about, she said that we can't talk about the pending case that's happening, because I finally told her that we are them. So she actually can't talk about live cases, but she can talk about scenarios.
Yes, I can talk about things in general.
And things in general. So I asked her, would she represent in her court a situation that we're going through?
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk
And
about
so in my court is 100% criminal court. There are some courts that do civil and criminal. Those are your county courts at law.
Sure.
So they have jurisdiction over that. My court handles drug cases, family violence cases, child cases, of course, murders, capital murders, aggravated robberies, those type of things. So I don't touch on civil at all. But I was speaking to her when I was a defense attorney. There were some cases I didn't receive payment for. I just took them because of the principle of the matter, and my clients couldn't afford to pay. But I'm like, it's the principle.
Sure.
We're going out here on principle. Don't worry. We're going to make things happen. And because I think and I believe that there should be justice for everyone.
You guys hear
Not
that?
just, oh, I have money to pay an attorney. No, if there is a principle involved and somebody has been wronged, I think they need to have a legal avenue available to them if that's the route they choose. And I don't think that money should be a hindrance to receiving justice.
Wow, that's
No.
that's paramount. That's beautiful because it has kept so many people from receiving just due, or because of the money, because of the money. So, you guys have any questions? Anything? Can you hear clearly?
If I were ever in a position where I was a judge,
Yes.
that it wouldn't matter who you were, your economic status, who your attorneys were, everyone would be treated fairly.
See?
You wouldn't be wondering, oh, did she just do that because this specific attorney is here or that specific attorney is here?
Yeah.
And that is one reason why I stream in my court.
Yes.
It started, of course, because of COVID, but I think people should know what's happening in their court. It should be transparent.
It should. That's why I said God brought your name back to me again. I've been trying for a year to, but we've been missing each other. But to this, I guess this time, but God brings things together. And
that is so true.
That is so true. So, like we were all talking about, because I'm a targeted individual. I am, because falsely accused of a crime. I was arrested and hidden 18 days here in Crockett County, Texas. And then they changed my case illegally without my knowing. And so it put me into the program. The case, they changed it to terrorist, seller of trade secrets, espionage. I didn't even know what that was, but it put me, it's a higher level crime. So now I'm in this program that they are in as well, that the people that filed, those 8 ladies that filed that case are in. So I'm like, okay, well, let me see if we can ask her questions. Would you accept us? It's not even, we'd find the money, but would you accept us if we brought a case like that to you?
Oh, judge, cases come to me.
Yes.
And then I hear them. So this is the way felony cases happen.
Sure.
So let's say someone gets arrested. One or two things can happen. You can get arrested, and then you're brought before a magistrate. A magistrate will give you your rights. You've heard of rights such, you have a right to remain silent, those type of things. They give you that. They will tell you, you can hire an attorney. If you can't afford to hire an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you.
Yes.
Now, when you go before the magistrates are not necessarily getting into the facts of your case. For example, the only thing they're looking to see is if there's enough evidence to hold you over. And then they don't ask you, hey, tell me about the facts of your case, because that's not the stage of the process it's in.
Sure.
So then once the magistrate gives you rights, they're going to set a bond, and then you can either bond out or not bond out. And then let's say you get an attorney. Well, that case that was first heard by the magistrate will be forwarded to the district attorney's office. And the district attorney's office, they'll have different, I used to be in the DA's office, the district attorney's office, they will assign that case to whomever they assign it to, however their hierarchy is established now.
Sure.
And then that prosecutor will look at it and see if there's enough to take that case to the grand jury. Because at that point in time, you haven't been indicted. A grand jury hasn't looked over it and said, you know what, this is enough evidence to have this person be held for trial. And when I say held for trial, I don't mean you're at the jail awaiting. I mean that case then goes to a district court. And how it gets to a district court is through a random rotation system. Whatever court is up next, that's the court that will have your case in their court.
Oh.
And then what will end up happening is you will show up for your court date. You'll have your attorney, hopefully. If you don't have an attorney in my court, I'll ask you if you can afford an attorney or if you need one appointed to you.
Sure.
And then if you need one appointed to you, there's a process where you're interviewed to see if you're indigent and you qualify for a court-appointed attorney.
Right.
So next you get an attorney. That attorney will look over the case. That attorney will discuss things with the prosecutor.
Sure.
If your attorney thinks it should be dismissed, then they'll discuss that with the prosecutor in plea negotiation and say, this needs to be dismissed. This is why.
Yeah.
Prosecutor may say, no, I don't agree with you, in which case then you could set a motion to suppress with the court. I will hear the motion and make a decision. Am I going in and out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I will hear the motion to suppress and make a decision on whether or not that's the motion to suppress should be granted, which may result in the case being dismissed.
Sure.
So then if y'all can't work it out, then you go to jury trial. And whoa.
Yeah. That's it. They don't want to hear something, doesn't want you to talk, huh?
What? Yeah.
There.
Okay. And so then if it's dismissed or if it goes to jury trial and you're found not guilty, then the next step for your attorney is to say, we would like this expunged. And then it gets wiped off your record.
Awesome. So, okay, there's people, we got chats on there and I'll
Okay.
get those. Let me just see what's going on. Can you guys hear? You guys have any? Hey, Veronica. Veronica said hi.
Hi. Hi, Veronica.
So, in a situation like that, a group that wants to file for who civil rights have been, what's the word? How do I say? Abused, I guess.
Yes.
And no lawyer will take you. So, do you advise pro se? I mean, I don't know if that's
No,
a question.
I'm not allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to advise or work on any cases.
Sure, you judge the cases.
Yes.
Once they get to you.
Yes. But I will tell you, the persons that you could perhaps reach out to is the Texas State Bar, the San Antonio Bar Association, and the San Antonio Bar Association. I know the State Bar as well. They have, if you Google and go up, they'll ask you a question. Are you here to find an attorney?
Yes.
And then you can punch in, yes, I'm here to find an attorney.
Okay.
And then they will say civil. But if you have a civil case, and if that civil case is going to be in federal court, of course, you can look throughout the United States for a civil attorney, because federal is slightly different than state.
Sure.
So if you have an attorney in the state, unless they have leave of court, you're going to have someone who is licensed in the state of Texas to represent you. Now, they may bring in an attorney who's from a different state or, yes, a different state to come in under their bar card number to just help out.
Yes.
But if it's a state court matter, you'll need an attorney that's licensed in that state.
Oh, okay.
But for federal, not so much, because federal is all over. You can just punch in and say, I believe I have a civil case. This is what's going on.
Okay.
And then there are some attorneys, if you deem it's a civil rights violation or you think it's a civil rights violation,
sure,
then you should say, I need a civil rights attorney. And then they will send you different names.
Sure.
And, that person will interview you. But you can go outside the state of Texas if you believe it's a federal matter, or if that attorney, you get advice from that attorney and that attorney says, this is a federal matter, then it's probably going to be in federal court if it's there. And then you can see about attorneys who practice federal law.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I know this, they says no dumb questions. So can you give examples of civil versus the next federal, or what would be?
Well, civil cases, normally If it's not a family violence matter, this is how you know something is civil or not civil.
Sure. That's the question.
And of course, there are exceptions to every rule.
Yes.
Civil, usually you're not facing the possibility of losing your freedom or being incarcerated.
Okay.
Civil cases usually concern money. Some of the exceptions to that are your family law cases that have to do with divorce, child custody issues. But normally, if it's not under those, a majority of civil cases have to do with money. Car accidents, anything where there's an injury and there's a request for financial compensation.
Okay.
And if you're seeking, for example, usually with civil rights violation, when you see the cases across the country where someone is saying they were abused by a governmental authority,
Sure.
and they're asking not only for financial compensation, but they're also asking for that person to be charged with a crime. Sometimes you get both, but normally civil is related to finances.
Okay. So is there a statute of limitation on?
That I can't get into all of that. Yes.
Okay. Well, okay. Well,
Yes.
let's see. Well, let me see. Let me get some more questions.
All right.
Okay, you guys, any questions? Okay, thank you, Daniel. Good morning, everyone. How do I become a judge? I already have several college degrees.
All right. It depends on what type of judge you want to be. There are some judges that the law doesn't require them to have a license to practice law. It doesn't require that they have been to law school. But if you want to be a district court judge, if you want to be a county court at law judge, you will need to have gone to law school and you will need to have a license to practice law because it's required.
So they have to go to the next level.
Yes, and you have to pass a bar examination to get your license to become an attorney. Now, there are some states that are slightly different. How some states, I think, you necessarily don't have to go to law school, but you still will need to pass a bar examination. But fun fact.
Fun fact.
During COVID, when they were not doing testing, there's some students in Louisiana, when they completed law school, they didn't have to take the bar.
Wow.
And they got their license.
Yes, there was a lot of good things that happened in that 2020.
Yeah. And I know people were like, shucks,
wow,
why wasn't I in law school at that time? So, yes.
Well, I know they're paying for medical school in places where, I guess, in Oklahoma, some towns, small country towns, they're paying to send you to medical school if you
come back. Yes.
Yeah, if you have to work there for the 5 years.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's out there too.
Oh, and that's a great option. And then you get to help the community, which I'm all about.
Yes.
Helping communities.
Yes. So, any other questions, you guys? We've learned that it's not about the money. She's about community. She is working today, matter of fact.
Yes.
Oh, that's what we need to talk about. So.
Yes.
That's what we need to talk about.
So, all right. I'm a firm believer in the treatment courts. So I was one of the first attorneys in the felony drug court and Esperanza court. Felony drug court just had their graduation. I always will send people who have substance abuse issues to felony drug court because we're trying to turn their life around to let them know there's a better way. And I know people always have concerns. Oh, are you protecting the community? Yes, we are. So the persons who end up being sent to felony drug court, they don't have violent offenses. Their number one thing is they have a drug addiction and they need help. And so they had their graduation yesterday. And if you are ever able to go to a felony drug court graduation, which it's open to the public, you can actually see how lives are changed, how now they are in their communities. And not only are they in their communities being productive citizens, but they're in their communities and telling their stories As the public speaker said, the keynote speaker said, not to boast about their past and say, oh, this is a great past to have, but just to let you know that you can do it too. So today, they are having a barbecue fundraiser for their alumni association. It is located at Comanche Park on Rigsby. And what I can tell you, I have been to every last one of their alumni events. It is fantastic. The food is fantastic. And how better can it be that one, you get a plate of food, it's only $12 and it's a lot of food. You're helping your community and you're helping them to do great work. And that alumni association is one of the best alumni associations in the country. Just, I want to say 2 months ago, there was someone who needed a wheelchair accessible ramp built for their home.
Yes.
Guess what? They went out and they built it. And they used the funding for the Alumni Association to do that. So that is a great program. So everyone, today at 11, just drive by Rigsby. I posted it on my Facebook. Rigsby, Comanche Park, drive by there. You can see what they do. And you can also go there, pick up barbecue, and it will support all of the work they do in the community. So go out there, and food is great.
Awesome. And the weather is good.
Oh, the weather's good.
Is showing out today for this program. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's just beautiful. So.
Oh, and there's no humidity. Humidity. It feels great.
I don't know what's going on here.
And they have fans out there. So, yes.
Yes. So I want to ask you. So we know that it's 2025 is coming. Mm-hmm. We know what's going on TV with the presidential, with Kamala and Trump.
Yes.
Am I able to ask what is your goals for 2025? Yeah.
All right.
I know I got my search.
Oh, yes.
There's things I can talk about.
So everyone, here's the thing. As a judge, I'm not able to support people politically and say who I support.
Yeah.
So I teach campaign and election law at University of Texas here in San Antonio. And I tell my students, number one, you need to make sure that you are aware of everybody who's on the ballot. And don't be lazy. And this is what I call lazy voting. Lazy voting is when you go in to vote and you just say you're going to vote for the presidential election. That's it. I'm done. I've heard people tell me, oh my gosh, the ballot, it's so long. I'm like, that ballot is only 2 pages, maybe. And it still will only take you 2 minutes. If you've already reviewed all of the literature, done your investigative work, and decided who you think is the best candidate, there is no excuse, no reason for people not to get out and vote. And people would come to me when I'm on the campaign trail. Sometimes they would complain about their roads. They're like, oh, we got a pothole here. We have this here. And you all know which part of the communities have potholes.
Yes, we do.
Have drainage issues.
Yes.
Have issues with maybe people coming to pick up trash, maybe the city come to clean up. And let me just tell you what I've discovered about that. If you look at the places where you think government is not working the way it should be, and it's working great for other places, look at how many people vote in that community.
Okay, that's the point.
And San Antonio is a big population, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you, candidates have limited resources. They have limited time. And so normally candidates will probably go where they know 100% of the people vote, 90% of the people vote. Me, I try to touch every community, whether they vote or not, because I'm the judge for everybody. But when you think about it, you in your life, if you have 500 people in one neighborhood and 500 people in the other neighborhood, and you're trying to get something done, and you know all of those people are going to contribute to you getting it done. But in one of the neighborhoods where there are 500 people, you know only one person is going to contribute to help. And in another neighborhood, you know there are 400 people who are going to contribute to help. Where are you going to go to get your help? You're going to go to the 400 because you know
You're going to get that back.
that's guaranteed they're going to help.
Yes.
And then if you have time left over, then you say, you know what? Let me go and hit these other 500. I know I'll have that one person who's going to contribute. And let me see if I can try to encourage the other 499 people to do something. That's why I always tell people voting is important. And if you don't vote, that tells people you don't care. And for some people, if you don't care, they think you don't matter. And that's the way it is in politics.
So that's why some areas, I mean, we know in San Antonio, I know what areas it's like, man, I'm mad at the streets. It's like it's going to tear up my car.
Yes.
So that's basically how it works. If we don't have an input, a great team that's working together for the voting and speaking out, then we get. And I feel like we're neglected, but now we know that we have to take part in it as well. It's a group effort, So.
And I know everybody gets tired. For example, everybody gets tired. They're like, I can't come down to speak to commissioner's court. I work, I'm tired. Or I can't come to this event because I work, I'm tired. I can't go to city council because I work and I'm tired. I understand that. But at the end of the day, historically, and this is why I don't like when people make excuses for not voting and excuses for not serving on a jury. When you look at the past and you look at history, there were so many people who were excluded from voting and excluding from sitting on jury trials. Now you can vote. Now you can sit on jury trials. And people, I can't tell you the number of people I see trying to get out of jury trial. And I'm like, not here, not today. I will send you back down. You're not getting out of jury trial, because if everybody said, I can't serve, then we wouldn't have any juries. And then you have people who are on trial. They truly want a cross section of people. Some people who look like them, some people who have the same socioeconomic background as them. And we can't do that if people are constantly trying to get out of jury service. And when people say, oh my gosh, the lines for voting is so long. And I'm always like, and remember.
Yes.
And then you have early voting. And I always tell young people, don't do this thing where you put it off. Oh, I'll do it on this day. And one of the things I tell my students, if a new iPhone comes out,
the first one, lines are around
lines are around the corner.
Well,
Nobody has any problem camping out the day before.
Yes.
Nobody has a problem with standing in line for 3 or 4 hours.
Yes, no.
But when it comes to voting, which 100% impacts your life, iPhone doesn't impact your life as far as, oh, I need to get this now. That you can get, the next day.
Yes.
But standing in line, that's not a problem. And people are like, oh my gosh, we can't give anybody water. Guess what? There are people historically who were beaten, bloodied, just trying to get the right to vote. And for us and those people who were previously excluded from voting, women, people of color, this nonsense about it's too hard needs to stop. And the other thing about voting, when you go, if for some reason you're in line and they say, no, you're not allowed to vote, you need to say, I want a provisional ballot. And you get your provisional ballot.
Provisional.
Yes,
ballot.
yes. You get your provisional ballot, and then what will end up happening is you vote. That vote is put aside. It's not in the tabulation. And then there will be questions. People will get a chance to review and see whether or not your vote should actually count. But do not walk away from the polling site without voting. And if you have a relative who can't walk for some medical reason, they can't physically go in to vote, all you need is someone to go up to the front door, or either there's a number you can call. You pull your vehicle in, there's a number you call, they will pick up and you tell them, I can't physically come in to vote, and they will bring the polling data to you.
Yes.
And then you can vote. You can vote from your vehicle.
Wow. Who would have known that? Well,
Yes.
we don't know. Yeah. So we need to get out and vote.
Yes.
Like she said, people paved the way for us. And it wasn't an easy, smooth way that they paved. So now we actually have we have the power.
Oh, yes. And I want to say that Monday is your last day to register to vote. So go register to vote. You can go, and I will tell people go in person, register to vote. And if you look up on the Bexar County website, I think it's called Bexar County Voting. If you just Google Bexar County Voting, it will pop up and it'll tell you the sites where you can go in person to vote. Guess what? The quality of your life depends on who's in office. And this cycle, we have the presidential election, of course, but you have a lot of local races that are up. You have commissioner cases that are up. You have the sheriffs that is up. You have constables that are up. These are offices that impact your life daily.
Yeah.
Of course, the presidential election impacts your life as well, but you have that. You have Senate. You have the House of Representatives. All of those need to be voted on. And guess what? When you vote for president, if you put a president in office, but you haven't given that person who's running the people they need, who believe in what they believe in, to pass legislation, it's not going to happen. That's why you need to go from top to bottom, do your research, and select your candidates.
Top to bottom.
And when you go into the polling place, guess what? You go in, you touch the screen. It's in English or Spanish. You touch whatever language you want. If English or Spanish is not the language you want, then you let the people at the polling site know, hey, neither one of these is my language. And they will take care of that. But when you go in to vote, you're going to get a white card that slides into the machine. You vote. That printout of that white card will come out and it will show you if the people you intended to vote for are actually on there. Sometimes people will vote and they will say, well, there's a rumor going around that the actual person I voted for, it didn't punch for that person, it punched for somebody else. So before you clear the screen, say, for example, you're voting for, Jane Doe for president.
Yeah.
And you check the box for Jane Doe. And then guess what? After you finish all of your voting from top to bottom, it's going to ask you, do you want to review your ballot? Check yes to review your ballot. And when you review your ballot, it'll show you just the names of the people you voted for. And then if that's correct, you punch correct, and then it'll print it out and you place it in the machine and you're done.
See, I think they should have, well, you just gave us a class. You know what I mean? Because it's fear that keeps us, and then you put off today and then it's done. And so you can put it out of your mind, but it's basically a fear tax. And so you kind of broke it down to make it easy. If your family member can't get out of the car, they could bring it to you.
Yes.
So there's no reason for us, it's just the fear.
Yes. And then if you feel as though someone is intimidating you, pick up the phone, call the police, call the sheriff, or you can walk inside of the polling place and say, hey, I'm being intimidated. And these are the people that intimidate me. And I will tell you, when you go to vote, you're going to see different candidates out there with tents, with signs saying, vote for this person, vote for that person. They have laws that there's a certain number of feet that they can't go past. And whenever you go to a polling site, you'll see a line, and that line they can't go past. Yes.
All right, I got it. More questions?
Sure.
Let's see. Hi, everyone. Says, can a student as a judge, such as a proxy? Can a student sit in as a judge, such as a proxy?
No, that's not allowed.
No?
It's not allowed, but I will tell you, I have different students come to my court because they want to learn about the criminal justice system. They're always welcome to come in court, but they're not allowed to sit ex proxy.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Donna. Any other questions? Thank you. It says vote blue all the way down the ballot. Vote blue. Veronica says, yes, my vote is power. Please inform the judge that I had 2 favorable decisions in court regarding my engagement. The judge ordered, the last judge ordered, and the case closed. Oh, okay. Well, she had a case that,
Mhm.
a family matter, and so she just,
Oh, congratulations.
yes, so it worked. Any other questions, you guys? I know I got something's going on here. We got like 50 people over here. So let's see. Um, we talked about the courts.
Yes.
We talked about, oh, family. How do you do all of this? Courthouse. And then you have 3 kids. You have a husband. And
No, I do not.
you do.
Okay, no, I don't.
You don't.
No.
That someone gave you a husband,
Oh,
a
yay.
millionaire husband.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Well,
I appreciate that.
he's coming then.
Yeah.
Yes, and 3 kids.
Oh, I have 3 children. Oh, wow. I'm learning
Yeah.
things about myself I did not
And
know.
I was like, well, I don't know that. I've known her for a couple of years now. And I'm like, okay, so that's why I didn't bring it up. Well, maybe that's, because there's no secrets when you're a judge. There's no
No,
secrets
no.
anyways. Okay, so how do you, I know you go back and forth to Louisiana a lot.
Yes.
So how do you handle the whole schedule of being a judge?
Oh, you have to compartmentalize. And the thing about it is, so technically, I don't work from 9 to 5. It's 24/7
Yeah.
because sometimes I'll get calls about things that are going on with the court or things that are coming up.
Sure.
So you just have to say, you know what? I'm going to have this set of time for myself. Like for me, this Saturday today is busy.
Yes, you're hopping.
Yes.
Yes.
So I have 4 other events I have to go to. And it's hard for me. I don't like to say no to people in the community
Thank you.
who are trying to do great things
Yes, thank you.
as you are doing.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
So
you for
I
coming.
don't like saying no to that. And I always tell people if I'm in town, I will be there.
Yeah.
And so it's like the Alumni Association. If I'm in town, I will be there
Yes.
because you never know the role you may play in somebody being uplifted, somebody being able to go another day. Because
Yes.
businesses are not great all the time.
Right.
Sometimes you have maybe a bad client or a client who's treated you badly, and you're just like, oh, and you're like, am I doing the right thing? I'm on the right path.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
then God will put somebody in your life who say, hey, you're doing great.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
you get, it's like I call them capsules.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I got my you gave me my capsule again.
Yes.
Like you have. Okay, because I'm just like, oh my God, everything that happens, the breaks
Mhm.
downs, and then you're like, I'll come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just so that's another capsule. Okay.
Yes. And then the way I was talking about voting and historically how difficult it was to vote.
Mm-hmm.
My mom always tell me, and my friends always tell me, never forget where you've come from, so you won't think, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. Because when you think about it, it's really not difficult. When you
Right.
think of maybe the struggles you've gone to get where you are. And I'm so happy. And I'm happy because one, I've always wanted to do law. And look at me, I'm practicing law.
You're
I,
doing
I
what
love
you
it.
wanted.
Yes.
You did. Uh-huh.
So I think we need to always be grateful for where we are in life and that it's constantly journey, journey, journey.
Yes.
And the other thing I live by is that you can only control what you do and not get bogged down into outside things that are happening. You just stay on your path, be truthful, and there you are.
Yeah. And then people see that. People see that transparency of
Yes.
how so we know that we can always depend on Judge Boyd's word. She, you know what I mean? And so that follows you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, we know that.
Yeah.
So
I really want courtrooms to be more transparent because sometimes people don't realize that these judicial positions, they're elected positions. And many times, unless you're involved in the legal process, you don't know who your judges are. And when you get in the voting booth, you're just like, okay, this is the first name on the ballot, so let me check off that.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that makes a difference too, because I know Judge Boyd, I know her character, I know Judge Cruz, I
Mhm,
know their his character. The certain ones.
mhm,
Um, it's just quickly,
mhm.
okay, I know her.
And for the public, just so you know, courtrooms are open to the public. The only places I discourage people from going is juvenile court because it's juveniles,
Sure.
and then child protective services when they have their court settings because again it's children. But any other court, come downtown, make a day of it. You can have lunch on the Riverwalk, and you can just sit in any courtroom you want to sit in and watch what's going on.
Sure.
You don't have to make any announcements. The courtrooms are open to the public. I ended up continuing with streaming one so the courtroom could be easily open to the public. And then sometimes I have persons who are on docket who are in another state. And I always thought it's wrong for them. Oh, I got to get a airline ticket from New York, come down.
Sure.
You know, that's expensive
Yeah.
just for me to be in court for 10 minutes and then I have to fly back. Of course, they have to be present when it's jury trial, but I use it for that purpose too. So attorneys, if they're out of county or out of state, they can zoom in as opposed to driving the distances or, paying for an expensive airline ticket because that gets very costly.
Yes. Thank you. Let's see. We have a few more questions. I know that today is your day.
No problem.
It says, I have been since before. Okay. Let's see, Lauren. I'm reading your questions. I have to return back to court next month. Return my. Okay, Judge Boyd, your insights are truly inspiring. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you, Tranquility.
Thank you.
That's Tranquility. After the favorable decision was made, oh, so she's just letting you know that she had a favorable outcome when she went to court.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Yes. So, okay, well, um, yeah, so we don't have really that many questions. I'm so sorry that this team is
Yeah.
having problems on this, but I'll be able
Oh,
to
no.
share it with them. I'll
No
get it.
problem. You know what? I'm going to take it. If there are not a lot of questions, guess what that means? You did a fabulous job. So
Yes.
you covered everything that everyone wanted to hear. So that's awesome.
Yes. Well, and I just wanted to say too that because I know a lot of them were wanted to know about that case, and so again, she was explain that you're not able to talk about.
No, I'm not. And no judge is allowed to talk about open cases or give their opinions on specific cases because then what will end up happening is cases that come before you, if they're similar in any kind of way to that case, people will say, well, this judge has already made up their mind because we're supposed to keep an open mind and be objective about cases and how we will rule upon them.
Sure. But she's transparent, and her values, her moral values, is that everybody deserves a fair chance, and everybody a just case, right?
Yes.
Everybody, and so regardless, it's not about the money. So you guys did hear that. It's not all about the money. If someone has been abused and their rights have been abused, then she will say, "Hey, I can
Yes.
take your case." So
Yes. And just make sure that whatever states you're in, every state has their own bar association and they have the state bar association. So for example, if you were in Montana, you would go to the Montana Bar Association and then look at whatever city it is in their local bar association. So here in San Antonio, you have the San Antonio Bar Association that can help you find an attorney. And then you have the Texas Bar Association that can help you find an attorney. And so the Texas Bar Association will give you attorneys throughout the state of Texas. And of course, the San Antonio Bar, they're probably just focused on the local attorneys in San Antonio and surrounding counties.
okay. So for 2024, so how are you feeling? Do you have your ideas of what you have planned for your 2025?
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling great.
Yes.
And with far as making plans, you should always have a path where you want to go, where you want to be,
Sure.
where you see yourself. But then you should also be open to maybe new things that are coming into your life and be accepting to that may you're still on the path for what you want and what your hopes and dreams are, but then there are other considerations that are coming into play.
So always have an open mind.
Oh,
Always.
most definitely.
Uh-huh. So is that the same as eggs? Don't your eggs in one basket?
Yes.
Kind of.
That's
Yes, but you always stay focused on your goals.
Oh,
Stay
you must.
focused on your goals, but you always leave a way for something new to come because we need to grow. So
Yeah.
we can't stay stagnant.
Oh, yes. And I always tell the young people in my court, nothing good happens after midnight.
Not, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because one, if you're awake at midnight, that means that you have insomnia. And two, a lot of the crimes that happen or alleged to have happened, normally it's after midnight.
Yeah.
So try to be home, young people, before midnight.
Before midnight. That was my deadline. No, you couldn't be walking in the door at 12. No 12:01. Walking it, you're in the house. That was my.
Oh, yes.
And I believe, I mean, my parents would show up. I grew up in those days too. So I didn't want to be embarrassed. So I would always sneak, and I'd sneak out because I had to be home.
Yes.
And so kind of avoid a lot of the things that could have happened to me being after.
So if young people, if you're not employed and you're working a job at midnight, be at home before the clock strikes midnight.
Yes. Yes. So how could someone reach? I know you have your court. How could someone reach you, or what's the process of that?
Oh, so if you go to the Bexar County website, and if you just type in Bexar County website and then go for Judge Boyd, it'll have a listing of the court's number. It'll have a listing of the court coordinator's email, and you can contact me through that number or through the email with the court coordinator.
Yes.
And you can always stop by court and say hi.
Yeah.
And say, you know what? I'm taking you up on your offer. I am sitting in court. I'm going to enjoy lunch, and I'm just going to go to different courts and see what's happening.
And you guys, we should do that. A couple of the San Antonians here, we got to go and visit her. I was supposed to do that a year ago. So now I have to do it before 2025.
Yes.
So.
Okay, I'm holding you all to that. You all need to do a field trip one day to court before 2025.
Okay. Oh, we're live. So I'm going to do it.
I challenge you guys.
Yes, we can do it.
Yes.
We can do it because she showed up on her Saturday to the I Shall Bloom show. So we can do it. And actually we're doing it for her, but we're doing it for ourselves as well because we're going to learn something. And we're going to see how the court systems work.
Awesome. And then if you check with all of your family members, make sure they're registered to vote. If they're not, make plans to go register Monday, last day to register to vote for this election that's coming up. So go make plans, go register, look at the times when they close for you to register, go register in person. And then for voting day, there's early voting, there's election day. You can vote on November 5th, but guess what? Why wait to the last minute? Anything can happen. You know, there can be a traffic jam. You may have to go out of state. Vote early and keep bugging them. Have you voted? Have you voted? And if they say no, tell them they need to go now. And then you drive right down with them and say, here we are. There's no excuses.
Good. Let's wait. I think there's a few more questions. And then you have to go to, well, I wanted to,
I'm heading back to the alumni fundraiser.
Hear that, you guys? Veronica, our San Antonians, we promised that we have to go and visit her court. We can have lunch on the Riverwalk, and we can go and visit her court.
Yes. And then please go and support the Alumni Association.
Yes, and that's happening today. That address, that's at Comanche Park.
Comanche Park on Rigsby.
On Rigsby. And so they're having that now. And for those who, I know the guy asked me about
expunctions.
So
anyway, if your case, and there's some exception, it depends sometimes on the reason for the dismissal, or if you've been found not guilty, or if you received some sort of acquittal a different way. you can have that expunged. And then some records, if you pledge them, there are some that you can have sealed. But here's the catch with sealing cases. With seal cases, if you are applying for a position that requires a license, the governing body for that license, they can see your sealed cases. They're allowed to. But expunctions will remove the fact that you were arrested, the fact that you made a bond, the fact that you've been in court. It'll remove all of that from your record.
So what's the difference in a case being thrown out? Like you've been held in court, held in jail for 4 months, and then you go to the judge and they throw it out.
Well, it depends on what grounds it was dismissed upon. Sometimes cases are dismissed for further investigation. Sometimes they're dismissed for missing witness. And in those cases, you have to look at the statute of limitations for the case, because they can always be brought back potentially, unless they're dismissed with prejudice. And it's very rare that a case is dismissed with prejudice on the criminal side.
Okay. Well, we thank you, Judge Boyd, for spending Saturday morning
Yay!
with the I Shall Bloom Show.
Bloom, everyone. I love it.
Yes. So we know that we heard, she said to us that we have to come and visit her court before 2025. So I know I got my San Antonio. I see Veronica here. I got a couple of San Antonians here. And I think you can do it online, though. You can't. Can you access your court online to watch
Me
it?
personally? Oh, yes. No. My court, if you just go to YouTube and type in Judge Stephanie Boyd, you can actually see court every morning, Monday through Friday.
So all you have to do is go to the court, Bexar County Court. How would they access that?
Oh, if you just go into YouTube and type in Judge Stephanie Boyd, then it'll pop up and you can see court every day.
Wow. Okay. All righty. Well, this has been a great conversation. I thank you so much again for coming to visit the I Shall Bloom show.
I love Aisha Bloom.
Yes, and of course, my name is Sandra again, and I'm the host of the I Shall Bloom show. I welcome all of your comments. I will have this edited and posted back up again. I can be reached at Sandra at ishallbloom.com. Also on my YouTube page, which is I Shall Bloom Talk Show. On Twitter, it is I_shall_bloom2. So again, you know the saying here is I shall bloom, you shall bloom, and we shall bloom.
Awesome.
Bye now.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I've had a great time.
Yes, bye, you guys. Sorry over here, pre-conference.
Sorry.
It crashed, but we will have, she said that she'll come back.
I will come back.
She'll come back and we'll have a show for us.